For months, one of the most disturbing storylines Coronation Street has ever told built toward a single moment, a verdict. Would the manipulation finally be exposed, or would a predator walk free? On Friday, July 3rd, viewers finally got their answer, and the fallout didn't just end one of the show's darkest storylines, it marked the permanent departure of an entire character from Weatherfield. Coronation Street has officially confirmed the fate of Megan Walsh, bringing one of its most emotionally difficult storylines of the year to a definitive close and marking actress Beth Nixon's exit from the show. The conclusion arrived through a tense, hour-long courtroom sequence that finally delivered justice for Will Driscoll. The teenager Megan had spent months manipulating and abusing while working to keep him silent. This is a storyline that's generated significant conversation among viewers precisely because of how seriously and carefully the show chose to handle it. To understand the weight of this conclusion, you need to understand the storyline that led here. Megan Walsh, who joined the cast late last year, was introduced as Will Driscoll's sports coach and teacher, a trusted adult figure in the teenager's life. Behind that trusted role, Megan was secretly abusing her position, manipulating Will while ensuring he stayed silent about what was happening. The storyline took an especially devastating turn as it became clear Will didn't fully understand he was being victimized, continuing to protect Megan even as those around him grew increasingly concerned. Sam Blakeman was the first person to suspect something was seriously wrong, believing Megan had groomed Will, though his warnings initially went unheard by the people around him. As the truth slowly came to light, it placed enormous strain on the Driscoll family, with Will trying to process what had happened to him while becoming, in the show's own words, a hot topic of gossip at school, and his brother Sam managing his own anxiety about the situation while also navigating treatment for schizophrenia. Coronation Street developed this storyline with support from the child protection charity Barnardo's, aiming to portray the realities of grooming and its aftermath with care and accuracy rather than sensationalism. The storyline reached its conclusion in a special early release episode that aired on ITVX on Friday, July 3rd, before its traditional broadcast slot. The episode centered on the final day of Megan's trial, with the Driscoll family, including Will and his father, sitting anxiously in court alongside Megan's own mother, Janine, as they waited for the jury's decision. During the trial itself, Megan had fought fiercely to avoid conviction, attempting to reframe herself in the courtroom as a devoted, caring coach and teacher, and even making troubling accusations against Will's father, Ben, suggesting his pressure over Will's sporting career had driven his son towards suicidal thoughts. It was a calculated, manipulative defense, but the turning point in the trial came when Will himself found the courage to speak. Having initially lied to protect Megan, unaware at first of the extent to which he'd been manipulated, Will ultimately testified honestly about the abuse and manipulation he'd experienced, testimony that proved crucial in countering Megan's version of events. The jury returned a guilty verdict on both charges, finding Megan responsible for inciting a child to engage in sexual activity, and inciting a child to engage in sexual activity while in a position of trust. The judge sentenced her to 5 years in prison, with the requirement that she serve at least 2/3 of that sentence before any possibility of release. Megan reacted to the verdict with fury, refusing to accept the outcome quietly. As she was escorted toward her cell, she turned to confront Will directly, calling him a liar, before desperately pleading with her own mother to help save her, leaving Janine visibly devastated and torn as she watched her daughter face the consequences of what she'd done. Back at the pub, Will's brother Ollie offered him comfort, encouraging him to start looking toward his future now that Megan was finally out of his life for good. In the aftermath of the trial, there was a note of genuine healing amid the devastation, as Will and Daniel, who had also been affected by Megan's manipulation in his own way, managed to set aside their differences. Recognizing that they'd both been damaged by what the show has described as her deception and cruelty, the two found a starting point for recovery in acknowledging that neither of them was to blame for what happened. The conclusion of this storyline has generated significant coverage among entertainment outlets, many emphasizing just how seriously Coronation Street handled a genuinely difficult subject matter. Throughout the arc, viewers expressed considerable relief at the guilty verdict, with many having voiced concern in the lead-up to the trial that Megan might manage to manipulate her way to an acquittal given how convincingly she'd played the victim throughout the courtroom proceedings. Fans praised Will's storyline arc in particular, viewing his decision to finally speak the truth in court as a powerful important moment of reclaiming his own narrative after months of manipulation. Actress Beth Nixon has spoken about the storyline's construction and her time playing such a difficult character. And while her time on the show has now concluded, she's indicated she isn't ruling out a future return for prison set scenes, expressing enthusiasm about the possibility of Megan crossing paths with fellow prisoner Lou Michaelis, a character played by her real-life friend Farrell Hegarty. Fans have responded warmly to this possibility, curious to see how Megan's story might continue to unfold behind bars, even with her main storyline now resolved. This storyline's conclusion matters because of how carefully Coronation Street chose to handle a genuinely serious, real-world issue, working directly with an established child protection charity to ensure the portrayal remained responsible and grounded rather than exploitative. The show's insider commentary made clear that even with Megan's conviction, the impact of her actions on Will and Sam wouldn't simply disappear, reinforcing that recovery from this kind of trauma is an ongoing process rather than something resolved neatly by a single courtroom verdict. For Will's character specifically, this arc represents significant growth, from a manipulated teenager unable to fully recognize his own victimization, to someone who found the strength to testify honestly and begin the process of healing. That evolution gives the storyline meaningful emotional payoff beyond simply removing a predatory character from the show. Looking ahead, expect the show to continue exploring the genuine aftermath of this ordeal for Will and his family, rather than treating the guilty verdict as a full resolution to everything they've endured. Given the insider's comments about the lasting impact of Megan's actions, future storylines will likely continue to address Will's ongoing recovery process. There's also the intriguing possibility Beth Nixon herself raised, a potential return appearance for Megan in a prison setting, crossing paths with an established inmate character. If pursued, this could give the storyline an unexpected continuation without undermining the finality of Megan's exit from the main cast. Coronation Street has brought one of its most difficult, carefully handled storylines to a close, delivering a guilty verdict and a 5-year prison sentence for Megan Walsh while marking Beth Nixon's exit from the show. For Will Driscoll and his family, the courtroom victory offers a measure of justice, even as the show makes clear the road to recovery is only just beginning. So what do you think? Was justice truly served with Megan's sentence? And would you like to see Beth Nixon return for a prison-set storyline down the line? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more Coronation Street spoilers and entertainment news updates.